Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. So I've been calling for a ceasefire, okay, since October 7th or something last year. And I'm still calling for a ceasefire when it comes to Israel and in the armies and the groups and the terrorist groups or what have you that they're clashing with. Okay, again, I'm not on anybody's side. I'm on God's side. Okay. Now, when we look at the pager attacks, you have to realize that people who are targeted individuals have been saying for years and years leading up to that they're doing something that makes their phone hotter, while people were pretending that they're crazy. And they were talking about things that were similar to the Havana syndrome before that comes out in the news. So we see that these symptoms of being targeted have been verified time and time again as something that is very likely to be actually occurring. So you have to look at the situation. Is the person actually batshit crazy? In the absence of that, we have to kind of assume that they're telling the truth. Okay? If some female ran into the police station half naked and bleeding, and her panties were ripped, and they said they were raped, you're going to do an investigation, but you're going to kind of take her word for it too, right? Because it's a logical assumption. And so when we see with these exploding pagers, right, tons and tons of people are injured, and I think a lot of Jews would agree that it doesn't make Israel look good. It wasn't a good idea. Okay, it was very underhanded, and it was very kind of reckless. Now, we don't know for sure. I don't think they've admitted it, that Israel has done it, but the logical assumption is that they did. It's in coordination with a bunch of airstrikes, and they have a history of kind of striking in a way that doesn't consider civilian casualties, and there's another agenda at play here that is globalist. Again, it's a mistake to just blame Israel, right? There's a bunch of groups behind the scenes that are involved in the process. It's like politics, right? Is it just the bankers or just big pharma or just the car companies? No, it's a bunch of groups together. And that's how wars are fought these days. It's a bunch of people with vested interests, who cause a war to happen. And it's not just people who sell bombs or bullets or whatever. That's what's going on here. And it's sad. And people are being raped. People are being trafficked. People are starving. People are starving elsewhere on the planet. People are being raped elsewhere on the planet. There's all kinds of atrocities and crimes against humanity that are taking place. And I demand that they stop in the name of God. God commands you to stop being evil. Obey the commandments of God. Okay, it's not my job to force everybody to do the right thing, but it is my job to tell you what God commands you to do, and to try to explain to you why it's not magically some theory or something, but it's actually the truth. And to those of you who are immersed in science and refuse to kind of look deeper than that, okay, it's the overwhelmingly logical and sound conclusion to a scientific mind. Okay, my father, for example, is a neurosurgeon, right? It's a neuroscientist of sorts, right? He's also has, experience in chemistry. Okay, he also has his minor in chemistry or something. My mom is a doctor too. I come from a scientific family. They are not hyper-religious. They explain things to me growing up in terms of science and logic, okay, and not in terms of the Bible. We didn't really go to church growing up. They didn't really explore the Bible with me. They told me some phrases that weighed heavily on me, like to the one who much is given, much is expected. While I was getting bad grades, right? And you can imagine that, I felt very stressed out, and I felt like I wanted to do my family justice more than I was doing them at the time in terms of grades. But the whole school system set up, it turns out I was being covertly drugged as a child. They had caused me to get bad grades, and they caused me to have bad behavior. Believe it or not, even as a child, to some degree, I probably would have been a mischievous child, right? But they caused it to occur to a much larger degree, and that caused me to be spanked quite a bit, and to be punished, and have a very serious Nigerian brain surgeon in my face, making it clear to me that misbehavior is not okay. And the result of that is extremely impressed upon me that people should be disciplined and well-behaved, and they should work the angles, because I had to work the angles saying, why is this happening to me? Why at the time was I getting bad grades, right? And it has to do with how the school system is structured, how people learn, what happens when somebody from a different race and culture is teaching you in a certain manner, because you can be a different race than someone and teach them, they can learn just fine. It's who, what, when, where, how, why. It's the devil's in the details. And so it is with gang stalking. So it is with the ceasefire. Okay, the globalists need to stop pushing Israel to war. Okay, everyone needs to stop playing their part. They need to do what's right. And when it comes to people abroad, have peaceful and logical debates. Beating each other up isn't going to help you. Stabbing each other, shooting each other is not going to help you. Terrorist attacks are not going to solve the problem. Okay, and they're not going to impress anybody. But if you stand firm for moral precision, everyone who is paying attention, and God Almighty first and foremost, whose opinion matters infinitely more than everyone who's ever lived put together, will be impressed. Be righteous. Ver in virtue means man. Thank you.